And the 15th Annual Values Voter Summit concludes with a virtual keynote address by President Trump, which will be given before a record crowd of participants watching from their homes and churches. One America's John Hines has more from Washington.
The annual gathering of evangelical Christian voters in Washington, D.C., called the Values Voter Summit, which was held virtually this year, featured lawmakers, cabinet members, policymakers, and others, focusing on the theme, America, Pray, Vote, Stand.
I think there's a very clear distinction right now between Democrats and Republicans on the key issues that we care about in terms of values, in terms of life, in terms of religious liberty. I don't think it's in clearer display than it is right now with respect to how Democrats are reacting to the Supreme Court. We should not be putting so much faith in the courts to run our lives. We'd be much better off if we make not just the court but D.C. more inconsequential in our lives, less consequential.
So says Texas Congressman Chip Roy, who was one of a handful of lawmakers appearing in person, joining in a panel discussion with Missouri Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler, highlighting what is at stake for the future of faith, family, and freedom in November's election.
Well, I quoted Ephesians 6, and that we need to put on the full armor of God so when the day of evil comes, we'll be able to stand, and that we don't wage war against flesh and blood, but against rulers and authorities and powers of darkness and spiritual forces in the evil realms. And that's where we have to stand as Christians, put on our full armor. And a very important part of that is to pray. And that's why I appreciate the Values Voter Summit here, calling people to pray and to stand and to act. And I believe that's a winning formula.
A winning formula, and in the case of the Values Voter Summit, going back to 2006, when the annual summit first began, as a forum to stand up for the bedrock values of traditional marriage, religious liberty, sanctity of life, and limited government that make the nation strong, and against today's cancel culture, according to Pastor Tony Perkins, president of Family Research Council Action, the lead sponsor of the Values Voter Summit.
In this cancel culture where people are being intimidated to hide their values, hide their beliefs, we're saying no, don't do that. Stand firm. Stand for what you believe in. And you know what happens? Yes, you'll face resistance, but before you know it, there'll be people standing beside you, because I think people are tired of the bullying that takes place by the left. I think the backlash we're seeing even in some of the polling in some of the battleground states, as the lawlessness, the looting has taken place in our streets, people say, hey, wait a minute, we don't want that. The cancel culture, we don't want that.
Perkins adds that the November election will be a critical test for America this year. John Hines, One America News, Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.